I'm Jonathan Messenger, broadcasting to you live from my home, where I record a kids podcast with my son, Griffin.
John dreams of inspiring other parents to create something with their kids. American Family Insurance is helping to make that dream happen right now.
Dad, what else does a monster look like?
It was so huge.
John's podcast began at home, and your dreams can too. Learn more about American Family's home insurance at mfam.com. American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly.
American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin, 53783.
What threat is looming in the Bucs' backfield to Rojo's touches? What late-round NFC East running back should you not be ignoring in FFPC Best Ball League? And who are the sleepers no more in Los Angeles? Plus, Jeremy Mills, a winner of more than 10 Football Guys Players Championship Leagues, joins us to discuss Marshawn Lynch's slide down.
Broadcast live and heard around the world. You are now listening to the most entertaining hour of radio on the planet. It's the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by MyFFPC.com with your hosts Eric Balkman and Dave Gerzak. The High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour is your home for football analysis from the best fantasy players in the world. And now, because no one else was available, here are Eric Balkman and Dave Gerzak.
Shots for the head.
Thank you, Rob, and greetings and salutations to all of you Balkaholics and Gerzakinetics. Welcome to the latest episode of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by MyFFPC.com. I am, of course, your slightly above average host, Eric Balkman, and my co-host, as always, when he's here, is the patron saint of fantasy football, the Dizzle, Dave Gerzak. Coming up on tonight's show, who is the tight end to target in Dallas? Could Darius Geis's value be going down? And 10-time FPC League champ Jeremy Mills drops in to talk a little LaShawn McCoy, break down some of his 2018 Football Guys drafts, and much, much more. Shout out to the chat room right now. Feel free to post any questions you might have for tonight's guest or for us in there. You can connect with us on Twitter if you prefer to communicate with us there at HSFF Hour, at Eric Balkman, or at David Gerzak. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/HSFF Hour, and the phone number to give us a call is 347-426-3682. That's 347-GAME-OVA. You can also email the show at the inbox at highstakesfantasyfootball@gmail.com. If you have any questions for us, now is basically the last time you have to send them for tonight's show. Otherwise, we'll get to them next week, or maybe not at all, depending upon how many we get to. Our producer and mutual friend, Rob, is working hard tonight. Our audio engineer, Bryce, is working almost as hard tonight on this Memorial Day weekend, and they're prepping all that stuff for the fantasy feedback segment later on in the show. Want to remind everybody that we are less than a week away for the expiration of the main event early bird that is expiring on May 31st. That is Thursday at midnight Pacific time. Remember, that's your last chance to get $100 off your first team on the main event, and of course, as always, you're going to get $300 off each additional team after that. Room discounts at Planet Hollywood are available as well. Check out the link at myffpc.com/main event. It's on the banner right on the bottom there. Click that, book your stay. And if you want to watch all the games at a Caesars property, restaurant, sportsbook, lounge, including Planet Hollywood, you can do it all day for $10. More information on that if you reach Greg Sidoris, who is our lovely Casino Connections host, and he'll be able to hook you up with that as well. Football Guys Early Bird promotion is getting closer and closer to expiring as well. Register for any draft before June 30th, drafted by July 15th, and you will get a free $35 FFPC credit added to your account that you can use for best ball, classic, whatever you'd like, prep for the main event. You can do that at myffpc.com. We have best ball drafts, dynasty startups going on this weekend. They start at $35 on up. So check that out at myffpc.com. Dave, how are we doing tonight? I know you had a doctor's appointment today, and your hip is not hip, as it were.
Yeah, I'm doing great.
You're doing good? No pain?
No, I feel pretty good.
Okay, good. Because I know that a lot of times you stand for the whole show. I used to do that, and I can't do that anymore. Well, I mean, I could do it. I choose not to. And I don't want to put you in any sort of discomfort doing the show tonight.
I'm totally fine. I'm not dying or anything. I'm just all good.
Just dying on the air, like when we, when we're actually trying to create.
I'm killing it on the air. I'm just not dying.
Clearly, I'm the one who's always dying with the content I put out. Let's move on and get into tonight's guest right away. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, he mainly participates in the Fantasy Football Players Championship because he loves the format, but he's also participated in home leagues for more than 20 years. He's won countless FFPC and Football Guys League titles, cash leagues, and he's looking for the big win this year. He's already got some Football Guys Players Championship drafts under his belt in 2018, and he's going to tell us all about them tonight. Please welcome into the show Mr. Jeremy Mills. Jeremy, an early happy Memorial Day to you, my man, and thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Did you have a big Memorial Day weekend plan that you had to scrap because you heard that you had the chance to be on the show tonight? That you was like, okay, honey, the kids, we're all staying home this weekend. We're not going away. We're not doing anything. I got to do the HSFF hour Friday night.
I'm in Canada, so I didn't have to have any plans. We had our big weekend last weekend, so we had it's Victoria Day out here last weekend, so I just had the long weekend. So I didn't have to beg and plead too much to get out of this weekend. If it was last weekend, I probably would have had to beg a little bit more.
What is so Victoria Day? Like what
we're,
is that?
We're dumb Americans, so of course we need to be educated like usual.
Yeah. Like what's that like? What do Canadians do for Victoria Day?
It's basically our May long weekend. We go out to the cabins and have a good time, basically.
But I'll tell you what.
What was the original origin story of Victoria Day, I guess, is another question, right?
Nah, I brought that up, and I should probably know the answer, but I just know it's my first weekend of the year off that I can get the long weekend, and it's basically the May long weekend. It's after the Queen or something like that. I don't know. You guys have put me on the spot. I don't know that stuff.
That's all right. We'll figure that out before the show's over.
We're gonna get our producer to Google that while we're talking to you about more important stuff here. We want to get into fantasy football because you have a lot of information I know that you can share with us. Before we get into that, tell the listeners what you do for a living up there in the what do they call it? The Great North, Canada? Is that the Great North, Dave?
Great White North.
Great White North. Yeah.
The show's great.
It is pretty great, actually. You guys should come up every now and then, but it's definitely a good place to live and those types of things. But what I do, basically, I'm a banker, financer. That's pretty much what I do for a living. Manage a branch right now, and in one of the biggest banks in basically North America. So it keeps me pretty busy.
I would say so. That does sound like it keeps you very busy. Dave,
is it BMO Harris?
What's that?
Is it BMO Harris Bank? This isn't Jeopardy, so you can say what it is if you want to. All right.
It's one of the good banks.
Very good. Yeah, the good ones, not that crappy BMO Harris.
I would expect nothing less.
All right, let's actually talk about football.
Fantasy football, that sounds good.
All right, so your latest draft, you had the 5 pick. You could have taken Saquon Barkley, David Johnson, or Alvin Kamara, whatever we're pronouncing it today. But you took the wide receiver, DeAndre Hopkins. Why did you like him best?
I've actually got him ranked my number 3 this year going in, so I figured I got a steal there. I just think him and Deshaun Watson this year are just going to be, they're going to be lights out this year. So I'm going to target Hopkins as much as I possibly can. I just did that exact same thing in the draft I'm in right now. So I just took Hopkins again at number 5. So I just love what they're going to do, those two. Barkley, I'm not too sold on the consistency of their offense. They've upgraded their line and those types of things. So I was thinking Barkley there. And David Johnson, he could break out and really make me look like a fool. But again, if Bradford plays the whole year, I'd probably would have taken Johnson there. But man, Rosen could start week 1, and that could really mess up that offense, in my opinion.
Jeremy, you talk about the return of Deshaun Watson off that ACL, and obviously you know that he and Hopkins are going to be cooking all season long. Is there maybe another target for you on that Houston offense that is going to benefit for the because of the return of Watson? Does Will Fuller do what he did last season? Maybe on a more, maybe less efficient for touchdowns, but maybe he gets more targets. Is there, is it Kiki Kuti? Could he have a big breakout season as a rookie? Is it Deontay Foreman? Is Lamar Miller? Is there anybody else that you are targeting in your drafts from the Texans besides Hopkins, knowing that Watson should be playing all 16 games this season?
A good majority of the people you just said, I've got Fuller in one of my drafts. Definitely going to be a target of most of my draft, that's for sure. The one where I picked up Hopkins in, I really wanted to pair him with Fuller, but I waited too long, and I should have grabbed him a little bit earlier. But I think Fuller will have a solid year. I think that Houston offense is just going to be awesome this year, and I'm honestly high on Foreman as well. I think he's probably going to be their starting running back. I'm hoping out of week one, just because Lamar Miller is just not cutting it there. I just think Foreman is just going to be a stud this year. I just don't know when he's going to get in there to really help carry that offense. But I think if Foreman can get in there, we've got Foreman, Fuller, and Hopkins. Man, that's a good combination with Deshaun Watson. They're going to have a good offense.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on Deontay Foreman versus Lamar Miller in drafts this year. I like Foreman as but the thing is, like, they're getting closer in ADP. You're having Lamar Miller go in like the mid-6th round, and now he's falling to the mid-6th, and Deontay Foreman is actually all the way up to the mid-10th now too. So I mean, as the season gets closer, we could see those guys get closer in ADP, but I still like Foreman. I think that as a 10th round pick right now, that's a solid investment, especially if you go 0 RB. He would represent a pretty good value there. Let's talk about another running back, Marshawn Lynch. His ADP currently at the 903 in FFPC drafts right now. Jeremy, but you grabbed him in the same draft we were referring to with Hopkins. You grabbed him at the 608. Can you tell us a little bit about why you wanted to make sure you got Lynch there in the mid-6th round?
Just basically one of those, just going by past histories with, Gruden's been out of it for a long time, but I just like the way he really uses running back. Realistically, I'm thinking Lynch is going to have a solid year, 12 to 1,500 yards. Maybe 20, 30 catches, and I'm hoping close to 10 TDs. So I'm a lot higher than everybody else is on there. And honestly, I'd rather reach for a guy I'm high on that I want on the team than just wait and lose out and, go for somebody else where I don't think that high potential is there. I think Lynch is going to help carry that offense. I think Oakland's going to have a good offense, but I think Lynch is really going to do well in that offense. I could see, like I said, 1,500 yards, 12 to 1,500 yards. I think he can get that in that offense this year. I think that's a great value for around 6, 7, even 8, wherever you can get him. I think it's going to be a great steal.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy when you think about it, too, because you get a starting running back in the 6th round, which is kind of unheard of. But, like, his ADP, you could get him in, not always in the 9th, but you could get him in the 9th quite frequently. And it's bizarre because you look at that offense, if it is going to be, what a lot of people think it could be with John Gruden running things there. You have Derek Carr, you have Amari Cooper. There's some weapons there. Jared Cook obviously had the resurgent season last year as well. They bring in Martavis Bryant and Jordy Nelson. So the pieces are there. I mean, it's not like they're going to set the world on fire, but to get the starting running back on that offense in the 9th round or 8th round or even 6th round like where you grabbed him there, Jeremy, that's pretty crazy that you could get him there.
Yeah, and I'm just hoping that, his ADP stays that far back and, keep doing these drafts. And, I think I definitely did maybe pull the trigger maybe a round early. But when you like a guy, I'd much rather have a guy I like on a team than go, settle for one guy. So I just really like what Lynch is going to go through this year. So I just think I'm going to try and get him on as many teams as I possibly can early in the year before I think his ADP goes up.
So let's talk a little bit about Chris Hogan on the Patriots. He's ended up on both of your FBC teams so far. What kind of end-of-season numbers do you think we'll be looking at from him?
Oh, he's going to be a solid wide receiver, too, this year, I think. With Hopkins, with Cooks leaving, and then Edelman's coming back, how fast they work him in, those types of things. Gronk, who knows how many, how long he's going to stay healthy for and those types of things, even if he stays healthy all year. I think Hogan is a solid number 2 receiver. top end wide receiver too. I'm thinking he's 70, 80 catches, 1,000 to 1,200 yards, and I'm hoping 8 to 10 touchdowns. I really got high hopes for him this year.
Yeah, I mean, that might be somebody. I mean, even if you're not a believer in him hitting those stats, I mean, even if you think he's only going to get 70, 80% of that, Chris Hogan is a guy who's going in the 10th round of FFPC drafts right now. Guys who are going in front of him include Des Bryant, Nelson Aguilar, Will Fuller, Manny Sanders, Dave's guy Cooper Kupp. They're all going in front of Chris Hogan right now. And I think, Dave, you and I would be in agreement that as the season approaches and people are realizing, oh, yeah, Cooks is gone. Oh, yeah, Edelman's old and he's coming off an ACL. Oh, you know, I mean, there's all these things working in Hogan's favor, and I think his ADP is going to go up. I don't know how much, but, man, you get a guy like Hogan in the double-digit rounds like that. That is definitely a solid way to spend that draft pick.
Yeah, I agree totally.
You have Danny Amendola, a guy that you've been targeting on a lot of your teams thus far. You've drafted him late in a couple of them. Why would you encourage, Jeremy, high-stakes players not to sleep on Danny Amendola this year either?
Well, it's just one of those things where you look at that offense and you got Parker and Stills on the outside. I think they're going to get a lot of catches, but if you look at that offense and what Tannehill likes to do, you know, I was looking at the 3-year averages. Obviously, Tannehill didn't play that much last year, but the 3-year averages for Landry over the last couple of years, basically over 100 catches, 1,100 yards, 6 TDs. Now, obviously, Amendola is, I don't think, anywhere the talent that Landry is, but even if he gets anywhere around 70 catches, 700 yards, something like that, a couple TDs, that's a solid filler in for your wide receivers and those types of things, or a flex position that you can really get like in round 19 or 20, because nobody is targeting him whatsoever. And if you can get a solid guy that you can plug and play in those late rounds like that, that's just an awesome steal in my opinion.
Yeah, it's interesting that when you look at the Dolphins' pass catchers, you have Devontae Parker, who's the Mr. Breakout who never breaks out. You have Kenny Stills, who's more of a deep threat. And you have Mike Gesicki, who's just a rookie. He's a rookie tight end. He's got great measurables, big deal. He's probably going to do nothing. So that's actually
at least in 2018.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. Amendola, it's a really nice look at that. I like that.
You know, we saw the Miami Herald report this week. Armando Salguero, who covers the Dolphins down there, he said, like, look, this Tannehill Amendola thing. In fact, I'm going to quote him. He says, is going to be a thing in 2018 for that connection. And when you have the beat writer already saying this now that we're in, still in late May, and you look at where Amendola is going in drafts right now, and the fact that you can pretty consistently get him whenever you want in a Football Guys draft, and after round 20 in a best ball league, I mean that you could do a lot worse than that pick right there. And that's the type of guy. Granted, he struggles to stay healthy, but you're getting him in a best ball. He's going to have 5 or 6 weeks where he's going to start for you and do real good. And when you're talking about a low cost investment like that with Amendola, it's certainly good to be able to get a guy like that on your roster. We're talking with Jeremy Mills here, a winner of 10 Football Guys Players Championship leagues in the past, along with other FFPC satellite victories as well. He's already drafted a couple of leagues this year in the Football Guys Players Championship. Dave, I believe you have a question on that.
Yeah, so beyond our awesome new early bird that Balky also promoted at the beginning of the show,
yep.
Why is it important for you to play a few of these early Football Guys Championship drafts?
Ultimately, there's a few reasons. My addiction is pretty high, so I love to draft as early as possibly can.
There's a gambler's hotline on the FFPC site.
Yep. You can look that up on the FFPC site.
Per New York state law mandated.
We're not here to judge, but we do make that available at myffpc.com.
I'll look that up then. So realistically, I think there's the widest variance of drafts at the start of the year. And I really like what I do at the end of the years that I've been pretty successful with is I make my list of players I like at the end of the last year, and I use the drafts at the start of the year to jump on those guys I like, even if the draft ADP is a little bit different. Because, over time you forget about what you like from the last year that worked well and, what you noticed in the last few weeks, which I think are critical to the end of the year and those types of things. And, it's a different outlook. So I use the first few drafts to capitalize on what I thought from last year, and also kind of to take advantage of the wide range of draft picks on where they go and stuff like that. Demaryius Thomas went like in round 5 one time. Like, you know, so it's just there's such a wide range of where these guys go. I think you can really put some solid teams together and some different teams, which really, when there's a lot of teams like this in this FPC league, I think when you have a little bit of variance on your teams, it really makes a difference. And when you draft early, you get that variance, I think.
Yeah, no, you definitely get the variance when you're drafting this early, as you know, compared to late August or early September. I'm curious, Jeremy, because we look at what happened last year, and maybe not in May because we didn't have Football Guys drafts going on in May last year, but you look at, you know, those June drafts, even the early July drafts. You saw guys like Alvin Kamara going in like the 14th or 15th round. You see a guy like Kareem Hunt going in like the 10th or the 11th round. You know, guys that had the talent that basically all they needed was the opportunity, and it was an opportunity that wasn't really staring them in the face at this time last year. Have you found yourself seeing the Kareem Hunt effect, seeing the Alvin Kamara effect last year? Have you found yourself maybe targeting some of these rookie running backs or second-year running backs that all they need is the opportunity and they can be league winners for you? Have you found yourself doing that?
Not so much, because I've found those guys, those rookie guys that are going, you know, first, second, even the third round. Those guys are going a lot higher up in the draft this year than it's not really. You're not really waiting for them so much. A couple of the indie running backs, those guys are going a little bit later. But like, you know, like realistically, those guys that those rookie running backs, I think Kamara and Hunt, I think they really up the ante, and I think everybody else is assuming that these new rookie running backs that are coming out this year are going to be just as high performer, or the expectations a little bit higher. So those guys are going in 4th, 5th, 6th round, and they're going a lot earlier this year. So if you're not targeting them early, you're not getting a lot of those guys later in the rounds, I feel, this year like you would have in years past.
That's a great point. Recency bias in full effect for sure, and certainly the values that are presenting themselves in the later rounds. Maybe they're guys like Marshawn Lynch, guys like Danny Amendola, guys that you've already been centering on that could potentially be the older league-type winners this year.
Keep in mind that this year's rookie running back class is considered to be possibly as historically good as the 2014 wide receiver.
Right. It is. I haven't heard that, but okay, I'm not going to disagree.
Matt Waldman, your buddy.
Oh, first of all, hold on. No, I'm not going to. Don't sully Matt Waldman's name by lumping me into his circle of friendship.
Hey, I buy his thing. It's lovely.
Yeah,
he said it's the best running back class he's ever scouted. I think it's okay if I reveal that piece of wordsmithing from him. From his 1,800 pages of whatever.
But at that point, Dave, then it is sort of like a perfect storm when you have this. What we saw last year with Kamara and Hunt, and then you have all these elite guys in this running back class. That's what's driving them up this year, you know, the combination of the two.
Yeah, it's like a forest fire.
Jeremy Mills, our guest here on the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour, winner of 10 Football Guys Players Championships.
Yeah, they all know already.
Yeah, well, I just want to remind everybody.
How many?
10. And in case they're, tuning in, jumping in their car right now and putting on their phone, downloading it, I just want to make sure they're aware.
I'm sure.
You had a big-time, successful year in 2016, Jeremy, in the Football Guys Players Championship. You had a not as dominant year in 2017. Was it just a case of you got hit hard by injuries? Was there a strategy change that you made from 2016 to 2017? Was there anything like that caused your 2017 to that you took a step back last season compared to where you were 2 years before? What can you tell us about what happened there?
I definitely had a few injuries on a couple of the teams, but realistically, the draft is it's obviously a big part of where you go. But where I really dropped the ball was making waiver pickups, and I had a few injuries early, like I said, and I didn't, I missed a couple of the waiver picks, and I honestly just wasn't paying attention as much as I should have, and it really cost me early in the year. And I recovered later in the year, but when you miss out on those first few weeks of the good waiver pickups and those types of things, it really crushes your team, and you just have no depth if there's injuries later down the road or bye weeks and stuff like that. So honestly, my drafts were okay, but it was my follow-up throughout the year that really lacked, and it killed me, honestly, with the waiver pickups. I think a lot of people lose the importance of that with those pickups, and it really helps solidify your team, and you can get a couple steals in there. You can really create that depth that if you have a couple of injuries, you're not hooped for, a few weeks where you're just really struggling. So I think the drafts, I had Beckham on a few teams. That hurt me. I had David Johnson on one team, but I wouldn't say that was the excuse for not doing well. I think it was more the in-season management that I really dropped the ball, and I just really it screwed my teams.
That's pretty good. He's willing to admit it.
Well, I mean, that's a lot better than me, who screws up every single year, and I can't pinpoint it. You know, like I am just twisting in the wind every year.
Look, Balky, you have had some success in some various spots. So, you know, I know you like to be, you know, put yourself down, makes for better hosting.
I will admit,
you do pretty good.
I have had some top 8 finishes in my 12-team leagues before. I don't want to brag.
Only when you parrot my picks.
Yeah, that's the only. Yeah, when I copy you, I'm able to finish in the top 2/3.
Yeah.
But that doesn't always happen.
All right, so here's a would you rather, Jeremy. Who would you rather draft first this season, Josh Gordon or Juju Smith-Schuster?
In my opinion, that's not even close. I'm taking Juju all the way. Like, I think he's going to be a stud this year. And I think if you want more of a consistency in and out, I think Gordon might have a couple monster games or something like that. But I think he's more dependent on a couple catches, a couple long balls. I think Juju is just going to be – he's going to be a stud this year. He's going to be so consistent. And, you know, with Bryant gone, everybody focusing on Brown, I think he's just going to have an awesome year. I'm expecting huge numbers from him this year. Like, in my opinion, I don't even think that's close.
So do you expect Antonio Brown to not get quite? I mean, let's say he still has a really good season, maybe not, you know, Antonio Brown insane season. Is that what you're kind of anticipating, or do you think that he gets the numbers from what Bryant somewhat once in a while produced?
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously Bell's going to get his, but I just really think, I really think Brown, like Juju Smith he's just as close to Brown, in my opinion, on a skill level. So I think those two are, obviously Brown's going to get a whack load and he'll be a top 1 or 2 this year again. But I think Juju Smith is going to be a number 1 wide receiver this year as well, too. I think he's got that potential in him. I think he's going to challenge to be one of the top receivers this year, if not for sure next year. I think he's just going to be an awesome receiver in that offense with Ben, who just likes to chuck the ball. I just think he's going to have an awesome year, and I think he's going to blow Gordon out of the water.
Nice.
Blow him out of the water. It's one of those things we always talk about. And, well, I mean, Jeremy, we are a couple of Aaron Rodgers passes southwest of Green Bay. And I wouldn't say Dave and I are like diehard Packers fans, but we do follow the team. And one of the things that Mike McCarthy has said for the last few years is that the leap, he always looks for a leap from a guy's rookie year to the second year in the league. And this is, you know, not necessarily just skill guys, you know, linemen, linebackers, whatever, what have you. He always looks for that leap. And I think it's easy for us to, like, you know, Dave and I have gone back on Corey Davis on the show oftentimes about making this jump forward.
He could lead to 1 touchdown.
Making this jump forward from year 1 to year 2. It's easy to say that about a guy who struggled in his rookie year. But, you know, the same thing is true about guys who enjoyed a lot of success their rookie year. I mean, if Juju Smith-Schuster makes that leap, which he kind of already did last year, but if he even gets better, I mean, the sky's the limit. And he's got a capable quarterback throwing to him. There's other guys in that offense that are going to draw some attention away from him. And honestly, if you want to stop Pittsburgh, what's the best way to do it? Stop Brown, stop Bell. I mean, nobody's game planning against Juju Smith-Schuster, so that should leave him plenty of opportunities on that offense. And certainly, you know, I mentioned Gordon and Smith-Schuster I compared the two because they're both going right around the same area in Footballguys drafts right now. I will tell you right now, Smith-Schuster is going. Oh my God, I'm sorry. This is really, really poorly done on my part once again.
That's all right.
Juju Smith-Schuster's ADP is 5. Actually, both of them ADP right now 506 in FFPC league. So both are going in the mid-5th round. You know, in that Alshon Jeffrey, Demaryius Thomas, Brandon Cooks area as well, too. So you have those opportunities to make your stand-in receiver there, and Smith-Schuster, you'd argue, has the highest ceiling out of all of them. Let's go to the emails here, Jeremy. A couple of them for you, specifically written for you tonight. First one's from Lou in Boca Raton, Florida. He writes, should I be believing in LaShawn McCoy as a sound second-round investment again this year? or is this the season he finally shows his mileage? Thanks, Jeremy. That is Lou in Boca Raton, Florida. Thank you so much for the email, Lou. We appreciate it. So, Jeremy, LaShawn McCoy going at the 210 right now in FFPC drafts. Is he a guy you'd be looking at drafting at the end of the second round there, or are you kind of avoiding him given the mileage and given that the team that he's on, the offense is how you say, not so good anymore in Buffalo? What's your thoughts on LaShawn McCoy?
One of my drafts, I took him at the end at 211. So that's my thoughts on that. Like, realistically, I think he's just going to get all the volume he can handle until he breaks down. I really think he's going to have not a top 5 year, but he's going to be a top-end running back. He'll be a running back 1, in my opinion, just based on sheer volume. He's going to get a lot of the dump-offs because their quarterback's going to be under pressure a lot. He's going to be on the field all the time. They got no real legitimate backup. He's really all they have. So I think he's going to still produce. I think he's only got this year, maybe next year, but I think this year probably will be the last year that he can produce that top-end number. So if I'm drafting, later in the first round, early second round, I'm not taking him there. But as I'm getting towards, if he falls to the end of the second round, early third round, I think that's good value on it, where you're not missing out on like a Keenan Allen or Dalvin Cook or something like that, where I think McCoy is behind those guys. And I really think at the end of the second round, early third round is a good spot to get a really solid running back that's going to get you a bunch of catches, going to get the yards. He's not going to get you, I don't think, a heck of a lot of touchdowns, but he's going to get you, I would say the 250 points this year, which is a solid second round player for you on your teams.
Yeah, volume matters, and it's rare to get a running back like that at the end of the second round for sure. Dave, go ahead. You have a question.
Well, just Shady McCoy. It's like he was RB number 7, RB number 4 in 2016,
right?
RB number 11 on a points per game basis in 2015, and RB 12 back on the Eagles in 2014. It's like, I mean, he just keeps producing. And most of the time he's on a fairly crappy team, or there's always some excuse for why he's not going to do well. There's always some explanation, and all of a sudden you always see him chucking his way into the end zone, running around the outside and scoring touchdowns left and right.
And he is being drafted as the number 12 running back off the board, so people are still drafting him in the FFPC as a top 12 guy.
As a very low-end RB1, where actually you can see some upside there.
Yeah. We should play we won't do it this week, but we'll play Would You Rather with LaShawn McCoy.
Right.
Because I think that'd be a fun little exercise, especially when we get closer to the start of the season.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Jeremy, let's we go to another email here for you. This is Tony in St. Joseph, Minnesota. He writes, Joe Flacco had some good stuff to say about Michael Crabtree. Why is he not being picked until the 8th round of FFPC drafts, though?
Flacco is?
No, not Flacco.
Oh.
Crabtree.
Oh.
Flacco got the 8th round.
I mean, he's a value in the 8th round, Flacco.
That'd be interesting. First of all, thank you for the email, Tony in St. Joseph, Minnesota. And Michael Crabtree, your thoughts on him as an 8th round pick? Flacco said he's going to get a lot of targets this year. He said that, I didn't read the... I did read the full quote. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said Crabtree runs the routes a little bit differently than some of the receivers. He knows when to separate, he basically knows how to get open.
He knows how to play receiver?
He knows how to play receiver.
Unlike everybody else on the team.
Yeah. So he had a lot of good stuff to say about Crabtree. It was pretty glowing about it. He's going in the 8th round of FFPC drafts right now. What are your thoughts on what type of season Crabtree will have in 2018?
I think he's going to get his catches and yards. He could be that red zone guy because they don't really have anybody else that, he's got really good mitts on him where he can catch that ball anywhere, right? So I think he could be a sneaky good play for some touchdowns as well. That offense, I just don't know too much like that it's going to be so consistent, right? They're going to throw the ball a fair amount, but their running backs are really solid, and that's really where they had their bread and butter last year. He could have a season like Smith did a couple of years ago, right? So where Steve Smith really, that older guy again, where he just, 80, 90 catches, 1,000 yards, 6 to 8 TDs. I could see that as something he could do, that's for sure. Yeah, and especially in the 8th round, it's one of those things we're talking about with Hogan where, similar idea. If you get a wide receiver 1 that late, man, that's great. That's great value for a team to have as a, your wide receiver 3 or even 4 or something like that. That's a great flex play right there. I'm
running into the same problem I did last year where all these guys who are going in like the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th round. I want all of them. You know,
you're only one team.
Yeah, I'm only one team, and it's just like, oh man, I don't even know who to pick here. I like everybody. You know, one of those things.
Yeah, I like the Crabtree's a good pick. Then.
Yeah, he is.
All right, Jeremy, we need some advice. Eric and I, we draft in Kentucky every year in August. So usually what we do is we interview all these players like yourself, and then we steal all of their tips and advice to help us out.
But we don't draft against them.
Right. Yeah. So we won't be competing against you.
No
We're just
harm.
going to use your information.
No harm, no foul.
For our own benefit.
Right.
It's led to some success. Not totally as well. By the way, the one guy who doesn't do the show, Kurt, won the whole damn thing last year.
Right, yeah.
So let's
really
screw him. So anyway, give us one player you're going to be avoiding in the early rounds of FFPC drafts this summer, and a sleeper you plan on targeting in the middle to late rounds.
I just think AJ Green's just keeping going down. I'm just staying away from AJ Green. The defenses are just putting 5 guys on them, and they're just letting the rest of the offense kind of try and score some points. I just think Cincinnati's got nothing else besides him. That I'm just not confident in that pick at all. I would have trouble putting AJ Green on my team when, a couple of years ago I couldn't get enough of AJ Green on my teams, but now this year I just think I just don't want him any part of my team. I would not enjoy that at all. I don't think AJ Green is definitely something I'm staying away from. And earlier what we were talking about with Foreman, I want him on as many of my teams as possible, especially at a round 10 value. I think that's just a great steal for potentially. I think he can be a game changer in your season league once he takes over that lead running back with Watson and Hopkins. Everybody focusing on the wide receivers there and making sure that they're putting lots of people in coverage. I just think Foreman's going to be a steal. It's just a matter of if, not when, he takes over the starting running back. So I think Foreman's going to be a steal in the middle rounds there. I definitely want him on as many teams as possible.
Well, we definitely wanted you on the air as much as possible tonight, and you did not disappoint, Jeremy. Hey, before I let you go, by the way, are you drafting a Football Guys team right now?
Yep.
How is it? I know you said you're in the 5 spot. How's the team look so far?
I got Hopkins with my number 5 pick. I stuck to my strategy. I definitely most of the running backs went a little bit earlier, so I felt better with that. So again, I took Hopkins over Brown, who went right after me at number 6. So I told you I'm sold on Hopkins. Definitely liked him there. I got Allen later in round 2, so I think he's going to be a beauty this year again. That Charger offense is going to be great. I went with Adam Thielen in round 3, and then I started to do the rookie running backs, which we were just talking about. I think I convinced myself to jump ahead and grab one. I took the New England running back, Sonny Michel, there in round 4.
Nice.
And then I picked up Ingram. Yeah, picked up Ingram in round 5, so I'll need to probably pick up another running back, wait for Ingram to get back, but I got a starting running back there in round 5. And once he comes back, he's going to be, a top end and wide and running back number 1 there. So 3 stud receivers and a couple running backs. A little bit early on Sonny Michel, I think, but the wide receivers I wanted were off the charts. So I took the 3 wide receivers, a couple running backs, and so far I like it.
Well, he talks the talk and he walks the walk tonight. Drafting a Football Guys draft while on the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour. We kept you on for like almost 40 minutes, so kudos to you, my friend, to be able to do the interview and the draft at the same time. That is good on you, my friend.
Those are early picks. They're not that hard.
Well, I'm just telling you, I couldn't do it. I couldn't even fathom it. If I was at the 5 pick, I would have gotten 4 picks in and given up. I'd be like, guys,
Sonny Michel is 2-packer approved, by the way.
That's 2-packer approved pick for sure. Jeremy, listen, man, thanks so much for joining us on the show tonight. I really appreciate it. Congrats on the success you've already had in the FPC, and good luck on all your leagues this year. And who knows, maybe this is the year for you. You've come close before. Maybe 2018 is when you will get it done. We shall see, and I wish you best of luck in that chase.
Appreciate it, guys. Enjoy the show. I've listened before, and I'll keep listening again. So all the best to both of you. Have a good year, and enjoy your summer. Enjoy your long weekend out there.
Yeah, exactly. We'll enjoy the long weekend.
Squeeze Victoria Day up here.
Well, we will celebrate Victoria Day and Memorial Day this weekend. Yes, exactly.
King Trump Day.
Yeah, don't bring Trump into that. I don't want to talk about that.
He is the president,
Jeremy, we'll talk again real soon, man. Thanks again.
All right, guys. Take care.
Jeremy Mills, ladies and gentlemen, a 10-time Football Guys Players Championship winner.
You know, Trump gave the Naval commencement speech today at the Naval Academy.
Celebrating Victoria Day last weekend, which I wasn't aware was. I mean, I have heard of it before. I guess I didn't realize it was so close to Memorial Day.
No, I mean, there's a reason.
I don't think so either, but it sounds like it's Canadians celebrate Victoria Day similar to the way that we celebrate Memorial Day here with. The reason Tupacker's not in the chat room tonight is because he's already been celebrating Memorial Day.
He's passed out
since last night. So good on him. And
they have fireworks?
Victoria Day? I don't know.
Celebrations, it says fireworks, parades, according to Wikipedia here.
Sounds lovely. Are you doing anything for Memorial Day this weekend?
No.
No, I'm not
My
either.
wife's actually out of town, so I'm watching my two lovely daughters.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So I'm trying to, entertain them here and there.
I'm
continuously taking third place in Uno, which we play occasionally.
Uno? Really?
Yeah. I'm the worst.
You know what's weird is nobody has beat me at DOS in my family household. I'm undefeated.
Yeah.
Let's get into the Fantasy Flash tonight. Thanks to Football Guys, Roto World, and Rob for tonight's rundown. Tampa Bay Times' Greg Auman reports that Charles Sims is expected to be a third down back this upcoming season because of his ability to pass protect and catch the ball in the backfield. This is a quote from offensive coordinator Todd Monken. Charles Sims actually had the opportunity to be the man in Tampa in 2015. That ship has sort of sailed on him. They invest the second-round pick in Ronald Jones, and I know you and I are both fans, you especially, of Ronald Jones this year. He could be very exciting, Dave, but if he's not getting the third down work, I don't know how crazy I can get about Ronald Jones. Let's break down this quote a little bit. This is the offensive coordinator talking about Sims being the third down back. How much credence is there in this? I mean, are you concerned that Sims is actually going to siphon away those valuable third down touches from Ronald Jones?
Jones was pretty improvement coming out of USC, but I think we talked about on the show before that Jones actually had a pretty significant market share of running back receptions from USC. So he can catch, and he showed it actually. Even Dirk Ketter said something about him looking good in rookie minicamps catching the ball. So now they just have to look at pass protection. I think it's pretty obvious that Charles Sims is not a very talented, great running back overall. He's good at being a third down back, good pass catcher. He's a good blocker. So I think if Jones gets the pass blocking down, I think he can take that job from Sims. I mean, he's a far superior talent. So we'll see. I mean, I don't see this as being like a Darius Geis type of thing, especially if you're looking at it from a dynasty perspective. I guess if you're looking at it more from a redraft, there is the risk that Sims keeps the job all year. But I think next year Sims is gone and it's Ronald Jones the whole way.
Yeah, I mean, for dynasty-wise, I'm for sure not concerned about Sims at all. You look at redraft this year, Ronald Jones going at the end of the fourth round right next to guys like Jay Ajayi and Sony Michel. Would you still be taking Jones over those two guys?
I'd probably take Michel over him. I mean, Ajayi does nothing for me. I think he sucks.
So you would rank them Michel, Jones, and Ajayi?
Yeah, I would.
That's how I would have them as well.
I mean, if the Patriots pass, even if Michel only has like 40 to 50% of the Patriots passing or running back production from last year, they catch so many passes, it's like he'll kill it.
You like those three guys? Well, let's just keep the Ronald Jones. You like Ronald Jones better than Royce Freeman, Deion Lewis, and Alex Collins too, correct? Freeman, Lewis, and Collins all going in that same area as well.
If I'm drafting right now, Freeman still has to compete with Booker. I think he'll take the job, but I mean, there still is that possibility.
Right.
Deion Lewis, not as excited about him. I'd probably take Jones over him, and I probably would still take Jones over Collins. Although I might take Collins over Freeman and Lewis actually.
Collins to me is getting a little bit more interesting.
I kind of like Collins looked great last year. He kept on. I have him on a few teams. He kept on scoring touchdowns.
Right.
It was like week 12. Oh, there's a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
He looked like a dynamic running back. I thought he looked fantastic. I think people who didn't own him and didn't pay attention didn't see how good he looked actually. And then the team didn't draft anybody worthy.
I mean, they have Dixon coming off IR, which whatever. And then Woodhead is retired as well. Wasn't he a Raven last year? He just hardly played.
Yeah, sort of. He collected a check.
Yeah, he collected a check. And there's not a whole lot else in that backfield right now. So Alex Collins getting interesting. Darius Geis is likely going to be the starter, according to Greg Rosenthal of NFL.com. But he said it also wouldn't be surprised if Chris Thompson ended up playing more snaps than Geis this year. Kind of interesting, but I don't think it's anything that really is surprising you or I, given what we've talked about with Geis and Thompson on the show earlier. Thompson is a very good pass catcher. He is a better pass protector than Darius Geis at this point. And you think about Alex Smith, who's always been kind of a mobile quarterback, but he is getting up there in years at this point. So pass protection is important still on that team. And Chris Thompson just might siphon off more carries out there than Darius Geis this year. Not more carries, but more snaps out there than Darius Geis this year. And that makes Thompson actually a little bit more valuable than what we had, or what a lot of people have projected him for. Chris Thompson right now in FFPC drafts going in the 7th round. Darius Geis is actually still being selected up at the end of the 3rd, that turn, 312. So
Who wrote this?
Let's break this. This is from Football Guys.
All right. So I'm sorry to interrupt this.
That's all right.
Terrible comment.
I basically was done talking, so you're not interrupting.
So with the not terribly mobile but not a statue Alex Smith, is that what they said?
Yeah.
I mean, he had 355 rushing yards last year. Every year he has like 400 to 500 rushing yards.
I understand that, but
that's pretty terrible. That's pretty mobile. It's not a not terribly mobile. It's like a pretty mobile, pretty darn good at scoring fantasy points even.
He is able to move around. I'm not going to say like he's
kind of a racist comment,
as spry as how I don't even know how race comes into it. But I will say I don't know how if he is as spry as he was in his prime. But I mean, how old is he now?
He's 34. He just turned 34.
All right, so you're talking
He's
about
not that old.
All right, that's just I don't know. Mobile quarterback.
Everybody likes to crap on Alex Smith. He was quarterback. What quarterback what do you think he was last year?
I don't know, like 4 maybe.
2.
Was he 2?
Yeah, over. I think it was.
Don't make it seem like I was way off on that guess, by the way.
You were like
twice as spots off. Anyway, I know you want to turn this into an Alex Smith discussion.
Right,
bring it back to Geis and Thompson.
Chris Thompson gets hurt all the time. That's one of the things you worry about.
Right.
Geis only, again, when he was at LSU, he only caught 15% of the running back passes, which is very, very low. He's not a pass-catching back. So unlike the previous discussion about Ronald Jones, I think that makes a lot of sense if you think that Geis, I would lower him a bit because that he's not going to be a pass catcher. And the team totally said he's not going to be.
You would not be taking him at the end of the 3rd round.
No.
Neither would I. Now let me pose this question.
I would take him behind Rojo. I would not even take him behind Alex Collins, to be honest with you.
Wow, really?
Sure, why not?
You know, that's like 3 rounds difference. Right now.
You know, stuff like that happens, you know.
Okay. So I don't want, let's not get into it. You brought Chris Thompson's injury up. So let me ask you this. What happens if Thompson gets hurt? Who's the beneficiary in that Washington backfield?
I think Geis is to some extent, but I actually think that Pirine might actually get some action.
They would bring in Pirine as the 3rd down pass-catching back?
To be honest with you, I don't know who their other...
I'll tell you who the other one is. Rob Kelly.
Oh, he's still around?
Yeah. I just ran a faster 40 than he ever did doing the show right now.
They might cut him.
I think it's Geis. I think Geis would get the 3rd down work if Thompson gets hurt.
I don't think...
They're not bringing in Pirine, man. They're just not.
Right, you're probably right.
They're not bringing in Kelly on 3rd downs. I mean, you bring in Rob Kelly on 3rd down, and everybody and their mother knows that you don't have to cover anybody in the backfield because Kelly is blocking. Well, no, I'm just saying, like, on the specific play. So I don't know. I think
if you have a 2-down back.
We're also assuming Thompson's going to get hurt.
It's possible.
And it's possible. We don't want to. What about Thompson in the 7th round? Can you get on board with that? Chris Thompson?
No.
Too high. Okay. Speaking of too high.
He wasn't high. He was drunk.
Whatever.
Allegedly drunk.
I've heard this story told several different ways.
Kendall Wright was driving.
USA Today Sports' A.J. Perez did this report. Terrence Williams arrested in Dallas Saturday on suspicion of public intoxication. Could also be charged with fleeing the scene of an accident, striking a structure, or highway landscaping, depending upon how involved he was.
Bushes.
Well, it could have been. It was a pole I thought he hit. It was a 1-car accident in his Lamborghini. He actually, no, it wasn't a Polish guy. It was an actual physical pole structure.
I see.
Or maybe it was a Polish guy. I don't know.
Just standing there.
Yeah, I just skimmed the article. He later said it was Kendall Wright driving it, and when they pulled him over, he was on his scooter when he was going back to the accident because he heard about it. I don't know.
Like a motorized scooter, like one of those that goes like 40 miles an hour. Okay.
For what it's worth.
And then was he drunk on the scooter?
I would assume so. What's interesting about this to me,
sounds like a person I know.
And as soon as he mentioned Kendall Wright, I put 2 and 2 together. Kendall Wright actually, he had just signed with. Didn't he just sign with the Cowboys? He just signed with somebody.
I don't know.
These guys both went to Baylor. And I mean, we know what Baylor University football was when these guys were there, and it was a toxic environment. Not great. There was a lot of bad stuff that went on. So I'm just looking at this like maybe there's more to this, and maybe we need to expect the worst and hope for the best for Terrence Williams. But he had 100-yard receiving game last season, did not have any touchdowns. He's recovering from off-season foot surgery. I mean, we'll bring this up again for Dallas, who is hurting for receivers. Des Bryant is available.
There's a guy out there, Des Bryant.
Des Bryant is available. It's Hearns and Gallup for me on this team, and I don't know if I can get behind anybody else. I mean, Terrence Williams
is undraftable.
Really. He might be cut now.
Yeah, he should be.
I mean,
he should have been cut. He was sucks. He's never broken out. He's always been terrible.
Kendall Wright to the Vikings. Thank you, Aunt Jemima and Wash Guy.
Yeah,
confirmation.
Trust me, if I could have gotten into the chat room at any point tonight, I would have seen those comments.
So you look at where these receivers are going right now. We'll just talk about Gallup and Hearns. Michael Gallup going in the 15th round. To me, that's low right now. And then Hearns.
It's pretty low for a rookie that has a good shot to do something.
And Hearns is going in the 13th round. So you're talking about a number one receiver for the Cowboys. It's one of those guys, right? It's not anybody else.
I mean, you have to think.
You get him in the 13th round. Take your pick.
How many catches do you think Witten's going to? Oh, wait, he's announcing already. Yeah. Oh, yeah, so none. Rico Gathers, that's the next story, so we'll talk about that.
We're going to talk about another Dallas Cowboy coming up later in the show, so I don't want to get into this too much. But
in 1 minute.
In 1 minute.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. Dak Prescott said today that he doesn't necessarily think you need a number one receiver in the NFL.
Whatever.
This team is
this organization.
You talked about this Ezekiel Elliott thing a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, Fat Zeke.
About look, there's a potential here for Elliott to be a massive first round bust. You know, we're talking.
The organization is imploding. It seems like It seems like they're almost as bad as Miami, and it's finally coming around.
I was just going to ask you, would you rather Miami Dolphins or Dallas Cowboys organization?
Oh, they're both in the bottom. The Cleveland is looking like world beaters compared to these two.
Yeah,
they're going to be coming. Cleveland's really an up and coming organization, I think, actually.
There's plenty of opportunities for targets on this team. Let's talk about the tight end on this team. Greg Roosevelt saying Rico Gathers is a candidate to be the starting tight end in Dallas this year. Gathers is there along with Blake Jarwin, Dalton Schultz, and I read today that Jeff Swain was actually running with the ones in minicamp, OTAs right now.
Whatever.
Gathers running with the twos. This is a tight end premium format in the FFPC that we talk about on this show, Dave, so I feel like we should talk about who we think the number one tight end is here and, how good we think he can be. Who's your pick as far as the tight, maybe not necessarily the number one tight end, but the guy that you'd want if you're drafting a Cowboys tight end this year?
Either Gathers or I guess that Dalton Schultz guy. I mean, I've done 7 rookie drafts, and Schultz, and granted only one of them is PPR premium, I think.
What does that mean, PPR?
Whatever, PPR,
like tight end premium?
Yeah, tight end premium.
Thank you. PPR premium, you get 1 point per catch for every point per catch.
Hey, look, I've had a long day, Balky. I don't see Gathers. He hasn't been even getting drafted in most of these games.
Yeah.
So he's around the end of the 4th round of a rookie draft if you're interested.
You look at I'm going to bring up FFPC best. First of all, we talked about this last week with the Cowboys, the Colts number 2 receiver, and I said who is it and does it matter? And I led off with the lead. It doesn't matter. I'm not interested in the Colts number 2 receiver this year. I also don't think I'm interested in the Cowboys number 1 tight end. Rico Gathers going at the 1704 in FFPC best balls right now. That Jeff Swain is not being picked at all. Dalton Schultz, he's being picked. I'm sorry. He is being picked at the 2707, so very, very late. And then the other guy we talked about is Blake Jarwin, and Jarwin is being drafted. Wow, 2811. So the second to last pick of your FFPC best balls is where Jarwin's going. Literally a shot in the dark.
Sure.
So. Maybe you grab one of them late. You can honestly.
Rico Gathers had a couple of good preseason plays. That's a good one. They've been good. But that's it.
Honestly, what you could do, Dave, is Dalton Schultz, Jeff Swain. Dalton Schultz, 2707. Jeff Swain, 2710.
All right.
And and Blake Jarwin went 28-11. What about using your final 2 picks and grabbing 2 of those tight ends in a best ball?
Oddly enough, I actually feel like you might be able to use them more wisely. Something else.
Really?
Sure.
I mean,
how about a 4th kicker?
Well, okay.
I'm actually not even kidding.
Well, I'm not either. But I'm just saying, like, if you take 2 of those guys, you basically have a 50% shot of getting the number 1 tight end on a team with your last pick.
This isn't the Mark Moyer show. I'm not going to talk about kickers, defenses, and 28th round picks anymore. That's it. Who gives a crap? Move on.
Okay. I'll move on.
Okay. When's Gatherers going again?
17th round. Darren Sproles is going to have a big role. We've moved on. We're not talking about it anymore. Darren Sproles is going to have a big role in the offense, despite being 34 years old and coming off a torn ACL, according to Elliot Shore-Parks of NJ.com, who covers the Eagles. Darren Sproles was not signed to be a feel-good story, says Shore-Parks, and it wouldn't be surprising if Sproles is even the number 1 running back on the depth chart.
What about Ajayi, who we were just talking about 5-10 minutes ago?
He should be the team's leading carrier.
We're on the same team, right?
But Sproles could also be the pass catcher. Ajayi's not a big pass catcher.
No, I know. You know that to be a good running back in PPR leagues, you have to be a pass catcher?
You do. And I'll say this right now. Greg Rosenthal had a report this week. Jay Ajayi played fewer than half of the team's snaps in the playoffs this past season.
That's no good.
Was that a matchup thing, or do you think there's a fundamental shift already underway? Corey Clement had a big Super Bowl.
Ajayi was terrible in Miami. Then they traded him, and he wasn't really all that good in Philadelphia last year. And then he didn't play that much in the playoffs. How is he good?
No LeGarrette Blount there this year. Okay, mister, let's talk about the Eagles' running backs this year that you do like. Is it Sproles and Clement for you? I mean, you're obviously not on Ajayi. You got to pay a premium to get him.
Clement's athletic profile is god-awful.
Yeah.
Go to mock draftable, and you might not even be able to make a triangle. You know how they make these huge spreads when you have Calvin Johnson? It's like a little tiny little turd. You don't see anything with Corey Clement. It's so small. He's terrible. Yes, Sproles is probably the most talented, but I mean, he's ancient. But I would probably take him, I guess, over the rest of them.
It's interesting you say that. FFPC best ball, Jay Ajayi 412. Corey Clement 13th round, like 1302, 1307.
412 for Ajayi. I'm writing this down. Okay. Who else?
Clement 13th round.
Well, at least he's cheap.
And then do we just want to talk about Darren Sproles and that's it, or do we want to bring up Pumphrey too? Denell Pumphrey?
Sure, you can bring him up.
Okay. Well, Sproles, I'll tell you, it's 21st round.
Okay, Sproles 21st.
So he's uber late. Pumphrey is going in the 28th.
And Josh Adams is undrafted.
I'm sure. I will.
The UDFA, is there still a UDFA?
Yeah, I will. Oh, no, he's actually 26th round.
26th round?
Yeah, 26th round for Josh Adams.
I think.
So you like Sproles here, clearly, in the 21st round.
If I was taking shots, I would take shots at Sproles, and then I would look at Josh Adams actually late, too.
But no love for Clement in the 13th.
No, I think he's terrible.
He had a good postseason, Dave.
Oh, yeah? What did he do?
I would have to bring up the numbers. I don't have all my figures.
I think he averaged like 3.8 yards per carry for the year.
Well, yeah,
he was in the first percentile for verticals, 28.5.
He went to.
I think I could jump 28.
He's a Wisconsin running back. These guys are, unless you're Melvin Gordon, they're not big on.
His 40-yard dash was in the 14th percentile. He ran a 4.68 at 220 pounds. I mean, it's not all about measurables and stuff like that. But it's like
clearly, otherwise Corey Clement would suck.
I mean, you have to have some level of skill. But I mean, his yards per carry was not that good. I
am bringing it up here. And, of course, the first website I go to sucks, so I have to go to the second one here.
Pro Football Reference, probably.
I'm not going to say what it was. Okay, Corey Clement. I just want his postseason because that's when he came on. Okay. Yeah, I guess you're right. It wasn't great.
Yeah, he had, let's see.
Oh, here we go.
2 rushes for 20 yards and 1 catch for 8 yards in a playoff game against the
okay.
Wow,
So overall, in the postseason, that's
3.8 fantasy points.
Maybe I should just talk about what he did in the Super Bowl because he had that awesome 60-yard catch in the Super Bowl.
One play?
That's all I remember.
We're talking about a play?
Recency bias, baby.
Okay, he averaged 4.3 yards per carry. It's not the very worst out there. 74 rushes for 321 yards.
4 catches, 100 yards in the Super Bowl.
Boom! Take that.
AJ coming to my rescue once again.
When you have a guy who can average 25 yards a catch in the Super Bowl, you can't be doing that badly.
That said, I think I do like Sproles in the 21st better than Clement in the 13th. And I for sure like them both better than Ajayi in the 4th.
Sure.
Okay, so let's move on.
That was kind of fun, actually.
What,
I got a chance to rip on Ajayi and Clement at the same time.
And we got the praise Aunt Jemima. Let's just call it a show.
She's great.
Yeah. Let's get into some emails here, Dave.
So is she.
And go to Rich in San Francisco, California. He writes, hey, guys, with Hunter Henry playing for 2019 now, where are his suddenly available targets going to go to in that Chargers offense? Love your show. That is Rich in San Francisco, California. Hunter Henry tore his ACL.
That's a really good question.
Yeah, so there was obviously the first thing that people brought up was, maybe they'll bring Antonio Gates back now. Even if they do, to me, that's more he's just a body at this point.
I have the answer to this question.
So I'm not very excited about what he brings to the table.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really excited about any of the Chargers.
I know.
Like Virgil Green there. I'm not excited about any of the tight ends there.
Williams is the answer.
Tyrell or Mike?
Well, Williams.
One of them. Good one. Well crafted.
I think Tyrell is better than Mike Williams.
I do too.
He's never beat him out. I think it might go to Tyrell.
I think it's a case where this just gets spread out. I don't think there's any one winner. I think Keenan Allen gets more action. I think Tyrell Williams gets more action. I think they want to get Mike Williams involved, obviously, as well. I think Austin Eckler
what about Melvin
could
Gordon?
benefit from this a little bit. Melvin Gordon, sure, for sure. I think that he's a possibility for. And maybe it's
What
Eckler.
about Justin Jackson out of Northwestern beating out Eckler? People are talking about that.
That could happen too. And if that does happen, then this is good things for Justin Jackson as well. So I don't think there's one. This is my personal opinion. I don't think there's one specific beneficiary, but I think this, rising tide buoys all ships, or whatever they say, and it's just going to help everybody there.
Yeah.
Dear Bruce and Dick. You want to take a guess at that one? Bruce and Dick.
Bruce Wayne and Dick. Is it Grayson?
Grayson, there you go.
Wow.
Nice job.
Yeah, thanks.
And you, of course, would be Dick Grayson.
Thanks.
In this, and I would be Bruce Wayne.
Of course, I watched Batman, the original,
Adam West?
at my grandma's house when I was coming home from grade school, yes.
Right.
Although it was obviously reruns. I'm not that old for God's sake.
I saw FFPC move Tavon Austin to running back like the Cowboys did, but does it matter for my leagues with you? Seems like he's going undrafted a lot unless it's late in a best ball. That's Brad in Norwalk, Connecticut. Thank you for the email. Brad, Tavon Austin as a running back.
God, I have such a problem with this Tavon Austin thing.
Okay, let's talk about this on the air. Do a little Gerzak therapy here.
Well, first of all, there's a quandary about whether he's a running back or a receiver. The team itself doesn't know.
Right.
There are a bunch of manic depressives about this thing. They have no idea what's going on. I mean, one coach is saying, he's a wide receiver. The other guys are like, he's a running back. And then the team website has him as a running back, and the NFL.com site has him as a wide receiver.
Nobody knows what's going on.
Anyway, so that's annoying because I don't like to make our players upset, but right now he's a running back as far as FFPC is concerned.
Right, yep.
And then he was available in a lot of the fourth rounds of these rookie drafts. I had to choose between Jalen Samuels, who I like.
Who you got in a lot of spots.
I did. I ended up taking Samuels in a lot of spots.
Over Tavon Austin. What were you thinking?
Austin, who the team is talking up like crazy. And by the way, my fantasy league where I play a lot of my dynasty private leagues, they have him as a running back as well. So send the emails to them too if you're going to yell at us.
Maybe they have been. We don't know.
So I passed on him, and then I don't think that the front office is intelligent, so that's why because they're saying all these things.
Right.
So I don't believe them at all. But it's possible. And who's that? Scott Linehan is there?
Correct.
And he got amazing production out of Reggie Bush. So actually, I'm inclined to draft Tavon Austin in redraft, but not so much in dynasty.
Okay, that's fine. Give me the over/under. Give me the earliest you would take Tavon Austin in an FFPC league. We'll say best ball right now. The earliest you would possibly think about taking him.
13th. I don't know where he's going at all.
He's going in the 21st round.
I thought it was a little high. That's way high.
I can get on board with this.
Yeah, I can too.
Somebody's got to catch passes there. I don't care if they only throw it 15 times a game.
It's not fat Zeke.
Well, is he fat? I mean, did he put on weight?
Yeah, that picture. He's got cankles.
Okay. Well, whatever.
If you have cankles and you're an NFL running back, it's not good. You look fat.
Nah, if you're young, you can get away with it.
Keep in mind, you won't mind the fat guys like you like Eddie Lacy.
I did like it. I still like Eddie Lacy.
I know. So you're okay.
You're going on all these podcasts right now. Hey, Eric Waltman, who's your sleeper for 2018? Well, it's not a popular one, but I'm telling you, Eddie Lacy. This could be the year for Eddie Lacy.
Wouldn't it be great if he came, like, all of a sudden, like, C.J. Anderson tore his ACL and calf, and then
would that be great?
And then they signed anyway, and he had like a 1,200-yard season.
That would be interesting. I'll tell you that.
Anyway.
So you and I are both on board with Tavon Austin, where he's going in FFPC drafts right now. He will move up. But
I think that's worth a shot for sure.
Is he a top 35 running back this season?
You know, if I had to bet, I would say, honestly, if I had to bet on it, I might actually say yes.
Yes. Okay. That's a great pick.
It's weird. It's weird because if he catches 60 passes, he's going to be a top 35 back. It's inevitable.
But would he be catching 4 passes a game? I mean, I don't know.
He's going to have 20 to 25.
All right. I don't want to get into the Cowboys nonsense.
4 a game is really not that hard, but I mean, when it comes down to it, actually, it ends up being hard because not a lot of people do it.
I guess. Let's go to Teg in California. Rob, Bryce, Eric, and Dave, first-time emailer. Re-ranking my tight ends after listening to your last podcast, especially now that Hunter Henry is out for the season. Do you see George Kittle as a sneaky tight end pickup for his ADP in a best ball league? How far ahead of his ADP would you consider taking him? I believe he could easily be the leading receiver on that team. Thanks. That is Teg in California.
Easily?
Thank you for the email, Teg. Yeah, easily. Teg says easily. I don't know about easily, but I mean, maybe.
Where is he from?
Teg?
Yeah.
Is from California.
Oh.
Kittle? I don't know where he's from, but I know he plays on the Niners.
Yeah, it's so hard for me to. I'm kind of interested in.
Bucky, I like George Kittle, but he has such a stupid name. I can't get behind
He does
taking
have
him.
a tough name. It's tough for me to draft Kittle.
You know where he's going right now in FFPC best ball? Nope, earlier.
9.
7-12.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought I might be able to fly. So. But it makes sense. He's a breakout candidate.
He's actually going ahead of Jimmy Garoppolo, which
That's
insert
fine.
joke here.
Yeah.
He's going ahead of David.
Is he better looking than Garoppolo?
No, clearly not. He's going ahead of David Njoku. He's going ahead of O.J. Howard. He's going ahead of Cameron Brate. He's going ahead of Eric Ebron, Austin Hooper, blah, blah, blah.
But, I think Kittle showed a lot last year. And
He did.
And you have this young, great, up-and-coming quarterback. There's a lot of logic to it.
So is he a sneaky pickup based on his ADP right now at the 7-12?
No, he's not sneaky.
I don't
he's
think
pretty
so
much
either.
fully exposed.
Fully exposed, indeed. And how far, then Teg wants to know, how far ahead of his ADP would you consider taking
Not
him?
at all.
I don't know. How much further ahead I take him. I mean,
I don't mind taking him around.
I know, it's a tight end premium league, and you look at, I mean, honestly, Dave, like, the 3 tight ends that go right before him, Tyler Eifert, Jack Doyle, and Jordan Reed, I can make a pretty good case that I want Kittle ahead of any of those guys.
You know what? I'm listening. Yeah.
The one before that, Trey Burton at the 604, I might rather have Burton than Kittle.
But even Burton has his own warts. I mean, he's never produced.
No.
I mean, what does he have? Like 700 career receiving yards? All he has is a big contract and a job.
Yeah.
That's all he's got.
Well, and
Nagy and all the
Right.
bull, whatever.
do you know, I believe I saw this, Mark Helfrich, I think, is the offensive coordinator for the Bears, and Helfrich was the guy who took over for Chip Kelly at Oregon and brought them to the college football playoff a couple of years, still ran those high-powered offenses. So you have 2 pretty sharp offensive minds in there. You know, It's not just Nagy, it's Helfrich, too.
Yeah, playoffs.
Before Burton, then you get into guys I'm for sure taking over Kittle. Kyle Rudolph, Delaney Walker, Greg Olsen, Jimmy Graham.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
not Hunter Henry, but everybody else.
Yeah.
So hopefully that answers Teg's question. Final email tonight. Bill in Peoria, Illinois. Any love from you guys for Cameron Meredith? Sean Payton sure seems to like him, and his price doesn't seem to be very high in drafts. What kind of season you think he has? That is Bill in Peoria, Illinois. Are you looking at his ADP right now?
I'm looking at. I've recently read a story about his recovery. I don't think he's fully recovered quite yet.
No, but
He's going well.
Roto World had this, and I don't know who this was about, but Roto World had a blurb today about if you're not ahead of schedule at this time, you're behind schedule.
That's great.
Which is funny.
That was like Tom Coughlin. If you're not early, you're late.
Yeah. If you're not early, you're late. If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, you're fired.
You know what? I like people like that.
Yeah, that's true. So you look at Cameron Meredith. You want to take a guess at where he's going right now?
By the way, is Andrew Luck way ahead of schedule?
I just know they're not worried about him.
I heard Irsay said that he's totally confident in his ability to play.
Let's talk about this because I thought this is Frank Schwab, who writes for the Shutdown Corner on Yahoo Sports, who actually is from Wisconsin.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And he posted a quote from Jim Irsay stating that he has I'm paraphrasing a little bit. He's not worried about Andrew Luck. He's gonna be ready for the season. He's gonna have a great season.
He's
Really great, very
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That quote was from March of 2017, which was just kudos to him.
More than 400 and some days ago.
There's Roto again. We love Roto World, and Roto World it seemed like every Andrew Luck update, they always they sneak in there. It's now been 507 days since he's thrown a football.
That's pretty cool that they're doing that.
Very
countdown.
Cool. Yeah.
Or count up.
We're rooting for Andrew Luck, but we're not. I said this earlier. We're hoping for the best and expecting the worst.
We are expecting the worst, and luckily listeners have not been owning or rostering Andrew Luck. Hopefully for 500, maybe 300-400 days. Anyway, back to Cameron
Meredith. I don't know how he got Andrew Luck from this, but Cameron Meredith, he's going at the 13-11 right now in FFPC leagues, and I'm on board with that.
I would take a look at him right around there. That makes sense, actually. Sure.
Let's play a mini Would You Rather, because there's some interesting names going right around Cameron Meredith at this area. Would you rather have Cameron Meredith or Alan Hearns?
I'll take Hearns, actually. That's close.
I agree. Cameron Meredith or Marquise Lee?
I'll take Lee.
I agree. Cameron Meredith or Calvin Ridley?
Meredith, by far.
It's not by far for me, but I do agree with you. Here's an interesting one.
I don't see, although Ridley actually, unlike Julio Jones, scores touchdowns.
And Ridley's not coming off a massive knee injury either.
He's also a rookie, and he's probably going to be number 3 in the pecking order. Behind Sanu, who's probably going 6 rounds later.
I understand the case against Ridley, okay? But, there is something to be said about Meredith is coming off this, whatever.
Ridley's built like A.J. Green's malnourished, skinnier brother.
Yeah. Cameron Meredith or your man, DJ Moore?
Obviously, DJ Moore, baby.
Yeah, I guess I'd agree with that. Here's an interesting one. Cameron Meredith or Rashard Matthews?
I'll take Meredith. Matthews is uninspiring.
He's uninspiring, and I know I was taking Meredith here because I am driving the Corey Davis bandwagon in 2018, but I thought you might take Matthews since you don't like Davis.
It's like you have to figure someone's got to do well there.
And who's it going to be?
Delaney Walker. And not Mariota.
2 other ones, and we'll call it. Cameron Meredith or Deshaun Jackson?
Meredith. D-Jax is terrible. His career is over. I think D-Jax might get
by Godwin.
He might lose his job.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm on board with that. Usurped.
Yeah.
And final one, Cameron Meredith or Josh Doxson?
Oh, I hate Doxson. I'll take anyone. I'll take anyone over Doxson. Meredith, I'll take Meredith.
Josh Doxson or Corey Davis?
I'll take Corey Davis over Doxson. For sure.
Josh Doxson or Kenny Galladay?
In that case, I might have to take Doxson.
All right, so clearly
the number 3
your
on the
argument
line.
is falling apart here.
What is Galladay going, the 24th?
They're right at the same spot.
Right.
Doxson, 1508. Galladay at the 1509.
Fine, I'll take Galladay then. I'm going to change my own vote.
Josh Doxson or Paul Richardson?
God. Richardson.
Great.
Richardson.
Josh Doxson.
No one cares.
Josh Doxson or Tyler Lockett?
Lockett.
Josh Doxson or Christian Kirk?
Kirk.
Josh Doxson or Mike Williams, San Diego? Or
Hell
Los
no.
Angeles?
Hell no.
Which one?
I'll take Doxson over him.
Ironically, Mike Williams and Tyrell Williams have the same ADP right now.
I would take Tyrell for sure.
That is wrong. We need to fix that.
We'll see.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for our show this week, for this Memorial Day weekend. What a special show it was. I want to thank Jeremy Mills, who's probably actually still drafting in his Football Guys draft right now. Yeah. How awesome was that he came on the show and did the show while doing the draft. That was fantastic. The FFPC, Rob, Bryce, of course, each and every one of you. Next week you are off, correct?
Oh, yeah.
I believe you are gone next week.
Yeah, I'll be in Vegas.
Hanging out with KFFFC Commissioner Farrell Elliott.
Yep.
In Vegas.
We won't be. We'll just be probably like betting on the NBA and watching the World Series of Poker. Doing nothing important.
Okay. So you will be off. I will not be. And we have another 10-time Football Guys Players Championship.
Wow, there's 2 of them.
There's more than 2. but we're going to have two of them back-to-back. Michael Inyang is actually going to co-host with me next week, and he's already done 4 Football Guys drafts so far this season. We're going to break those down, talk about those, and give him some draft strategy as well. I want to remind everybody to register for the main event, Best Ball and Dynasty League. All right, I got one last one here. I know I lied. Josh Doxa or Corey Clement?
I'll take Clement.
Oh, you are lying.
I'm not.
You are lying.
I'll take Clement.
Whatever. Happy Memorial Day, everybody.
I'm Jonathan Messenger, broadcasting to you live from my home, where I record a kids podcast with my son, Griffin.
John dreams of inspiring other parents to create something with their kids. American Family Insurance is helping to make that dream happen right now.
Dad, what else does a monster look like?
It was so huge.
John's podcast began at home, and your dreams can too. Learn more about American Family's home insurance at mfam.com. American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly.
American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin 53783.
I'm Jonathan Messenger, broadcasting to you live from my home, where I record a kids podcast with my son, Griffin.
John dreams of inspiring other parents to create something with their kids. American Family Insurance is helping to make that dream happen right now.
Dad, what else does a monster look like?
It was so huge.
John's podcast began at home, and your dreams can too. Learn more about American Family's home insurance at mfam.com. American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly.
American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin 53783.